Okay, well, we had a couple more indecisive battles here and here between the merchants, but now we have Voyager, and this is interesting. The Union player is trying to land supplies at Voyager. The Earth player has something else on board and is not trying to land supplies. Let's see who has to set up first. The Earth player has to set up first. He'll set up like this, and the Union is trying to get into the station. Now, he's got a bonus. He's the Union merchant. That's a Union station. He's got 5 system ships to help him. And they're set up, I don't remember where. Oh, la la la. Make it 6. Make it +1. And how many? Yeah, I believe they come in from their own die roll direction. I'm not sure. Nope. The in-system haulers are within 2 hexes of the station. Now they're allowed to fight because they are defending an attempt to make a shipment. If Yellow was trying to make a shipment, they couldn't shoot at Yellow. But he's not declaring that. He's trying to defeat the blue ships. And this is probably not a good situation for Yellow. Anyway, I'll start fighting it out and come back. So after a couple of rounds, this is where we are now. He's going to be able to dock immediately, which there's nothing that can be done about it once he does. The Yellow can disengage and get away from the system ships, hopefully. But they've got 3 hits on this poor thing. And they're going to have to roll 3 dice looking for 2s. And they got 2 of the hits deflected, but one of them hits them. And that weakens them significantly. Doesn't slow them down though. So they have to get out through hex 4 to get out of this way. And at this point it's just the system ships chasing them. Well, I can prevent further fire by sliding into the station. At this point I'm saying, I'll blow up the station if you don't let us go. There's not going to be any further fighting. The Union merchants are in here. So everybody's going to share that space without any restrictions. But one of our Earth merchants has been damaged. Now that doesn't really matter, but that's okay. Alright, we got one more big battle I gotta set up. Okay, so here's our big battle. A couple of stacked Mazarin, or whatever they are, Maziani fleet units. The merchants just want to slip into here. They're fine if they get there, and then they can make their delivery at the end. I've set up so that the delivery would be made here as well, where they made it to the location, and they cut a deal with the Unionists to drop off here. Now we're going to see the merchants looking quite good if the Unionists don't start taxing them heavily. The Unionist fleet here is ready to launch and in a position to really kind of try to dominate things here. So let's see who we get first. And we're going to get the merchants first. Sailing forward. They're most worried about the Unionists. They don't really expect the Maziani to deal with them. The Maziani are trying to get out of here. It's the Unionists who might be able to be a problem. Now here comes the interesting thing. Launch fighters or not, my belief is that I should launch them. They may be my only way to save myself here. So I've got the India and the Pacific. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The reason there's 3 things stacked in this hex is that I have the garrison there. And obviously the Unionists are going to launch their fighters. I'll come back in a bit. Well, that is because I seem to have not mentioned what I wanted to mention. Anyway, this is the situation we're in. One important thing is you can't fly through the enemy's ships. So the Unionists have some possibility to kind of try to envelop the enemy, the Maziani. And then there's also the question of whether the merchants want to open fire. They're not going to shoot now. Now at this point we're within range, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, where the carrier's big guns can hit. We're not quite 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're not quite in range where we can shoot with the lighter guns. Big question. Do the Unionists want to shoot the in-system ships at this point? I think that's making an enemy at the wrong time, even though those don't count for anything. Alright, I'll take care of some shots and come back at some point. Maybe right away, maybe not. Now Maziani ships generally have slightly better firepower, and that's telling right now. Got 2 hits each on a couple of these squadrons of fighter ships, whereas we only took 1 ourselves. Now fighter ships have no defensive value, so these guys are damaged, and that means we have destroyed a couple of the Unionist fighter ships here. They can't be rebuilt. They're just going to go back in the bag. And unfortunately for them, the Maziani had to move first, and so they got cut off by the Unionist ships. We'll see how the firing goes here. We're at closer range. More things can fire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But these guys get double shot against these, okay, because they're within the 5 range. So they may choose to shoot at the little ships first instead of picking off the big ones, which they have to use their big guns only on, and they can't use the small guns against a different ship. That's kind of an interesting little choice there. Well, a decent amount of hits, all these orange markers were meted out. Now I get to roll all the defensive die rolls. And that's the real pain in the ass in this game, is all the die rolling in the combat. This happens whether you do the advanced combat or not. With the basic combat, there's less ships, so there's less firing, but they disappear slower. And there's less sort of, I don't know, there's some decisions that are kind of nice with the fighters, etc. that I just like doing the little tactical battles. I don't know. The Unionists were able to save all the hits that they had on their big ships. You can't do anything about those little fighters. They're just going to die, and we got a couple more dead there and some more injuries. But the Maziani took an important hit on one of their big carriers, and that's painful. They got a 50-50 chance of surviving each shot. Well, they took 2 shots. That seems fair. The Unionists, however, took like 3 shots on their heavies, and they didn't take any damage from them. Well, making up rolls as I go again, because clearly if you can build that kind of line across the board, you can deprive someone of a chance to withdraw. Now that does not fit the standard game rules at all, so I'm allowing them to turn around and run back the way they came. Why? Well, because they were on the board and were fired at. This is my old SFB rule. If you took fire, you can leave by the direction you came, or whatever. You can turn and run, but you can't turn and run until you take significant fire or something like that. It's all bullshit when it comes down to it, and really this is the problem with the tactical rules for the game. But again, I kind of like doing them. Anyway, we got a lot of firing coming up the ass of the Maziani. Okay, well, that's the end of the Maziani fighters. One of their carriers went down. We took a couple of Unionist fighters too. No real damage, though, to their carriers, none at all. They're going to be able to slip away at this point by my constantly evolving rules. We'll put them out here. And now the question is, do the system ships want to shoot? And no, they don't. They don't want to piss anyone off. They didn't. Their arcs of fire, they got to shoot last, and their arcs of fire were cleared of enemies by the point. Like, there was no chance. It was only fighters that were being cleared out. There was nothing they could shoot at that was still alive, essentially. So they held off. And they're going to go back. And now all these come back on the board. I'll clean things up and then figure out I'll take care of the end of the turn victory with you, and then load this up. Okay, let's take a look at what our scores are. The Maziani have 2 garrisons in their own territory. That gets them 2 victory points. Nothing else. Doesn't matter that they shot up all those fighters, whatever. The Union didn't destroy a garrison. Union stations, though, 1, 2, 3. Wait, am I miscounting this? 1 point per turn for every Union. Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks to me like there are 6 points for the Union. This color. Ungarrisoned Union territories. Nobody destroyed a station. We also killed a carrier. That's another 4 points on here. That puts me up to 10. And now, the Earth Merchant didn't deliver anything, but the Union Merchant dropped off 2 chits with a total value of 8. And the Union realized, I got a pretty good turn there. Everything was open, and I killed a carrier. How often am I going to be able to kill a carrier? Well, I don't know. But the Union Merchant is almost as good as I did, and I had a fantastic turn. That's worrisome. Cracking down on the merchants becomes a necessity, and now that I've done a significant hit against the Maziani, I may be interested in it. Problem? Well, the Maziani have a problem, I'll tell you that much. They're going to have to sell victory points to get a chit from someone, I think, so that they can repair their one. They have a damaged chip here. Yeah, they have 1 damaged chip, which they can repair, and they really want to get that up. Anyway, that's where we're at. We're moving into the second turn, and I'll load this one up. And no, we won't do this kind of detail on any other turns, but I wanted to show some of the mechanics in action.